Alright, Steve. So I'm going to go over just kind of quickly how to resize images using a free program called Paint.net. I provided a email, or I provided a download link in the email I sent you. I'll also put a download link in the description of this video. Um, so once you download it, just click the link I give you, and what you'll do is right click and then just extract it. Um, Your extraction will look a little bit different than mine because I have two different extraction programs on top of Windows. I always do custom installations, agree. I always do custom installations just to make sure that there isn't any adware that's installed with it. Doesn't look like there is. Alright, well while this is doing that, one thing to note is it will your desktop icon will look the same as this icon right here. And I do use Paint.net fairly often. I use Photoshop for more advanced things, just because it seems to be a bit easier for certain things, but resizing images is such a simple task that Paint.net does really well and quickly. Alright, so once you have the program open, what you want to do is, obviously open the image. I downloaded this off the website, so it was just right off the desktop. Alright, so here's that massive picture that I was talking about. The website is 1,000 pixels wide, so here on the width you can see it's 5,939. If you make sure that maintain aspect ratio is clicked, then what it will do is any number that you put in here, it will keep the aspect ratio of the picture, and then it will automatically resize the height as well. So if we wanted to make it, a slider image, I would just do 1,000 pixels wide. I'd make sure that the image wasn't stretched and became blurry. On top of also having for a slider image, it also wouldn't be 600 pixels tall. So, that's just something that I'd have to mess with. But I'm just trying to cover this just for general, like compressibility, so people can access pages quicker without having to download 11 megabyte pictures. So once you've done that and resized it to 1,000 pixels wide, which is the same dimension as the website width, just click Save As. I'm going to save it as a different one. And then here's, beyond taking so many pixels out, you can also add compression. So at 100% quality, the image size is now 500 kilobytes, which is half of a megabyte. Before it was 10 megabytes. So it is 1/20th of the size that it used to be. So it'll take people 1/20th of the time to download it. But 100% quality, and especially once you start compressing all those pixels down into a smaller area, you really can't tell a quality degradation between 100% and even 90%. But the savings is in terms of data size is pretty huge. So having 90%, the image is now 166 kilobytes, which it says up here. At 100%, I believe it was 500. So, I mean, that right there is fantastic. But if you wanted to even go even further, at 80%, I can start noticing some image issues. So you kind of, normally I just go with 90% and just call it a day. but you can kind of play with it. Obviously, the smaller the size, the better. Here, example is 0% quality, and obviously that's pretty terrible. You can see just as I'm moving this up, I mean, really, even 48% quality, and it's already over 100 times less data than it was at 100%. Um, that looked pretty good, and honestly, anyone looking at the website would probably not notice any difference because people aren't just going to study these pictures and see, if they can tell what's the highest quality image. Um, and then for the images that we're putting into 1/3s, the 1/3 alignment, the website's 1,000 pixels wide, so 1/3 of that is 333, um, minus a pixel. But then there's also space in between that, so I would say that it'd be safe to just make the images either 300 or 310 width, and then right there, that's already just that, even at 100% size, is going to be just drastically smaller. Yeah, so even at 100% quality, the image size is now 55 kilobytes, which is honestly, even 55 kilobytes would be fantastic just to upload as is. But if you take it at 90% quality, now it's 20 kilobytes. So even on dial-up, you could download that in under a second. Um, yeah. So then once you resize it, so you go to image, resize, and then go through this. So you just change the width to whatever you want, and as long as absolute size and maintain or aspect ratio is selected, it will automatically resize to keep the ratio in line with the height. And I almost don't want to bring this up, but you could also change how many pixels per inch there is in the resolution, but you don't really have to worry about that. Yeah, so then once you change the size, again, just hit Save As. Rename it to whatever you want. I normally don't like to overwrite the original images unless I know that I'm never going to use it again. So, yep. And then right here on the quality, again, on this size image, even at 100% quality, that's still a very decent size. Taking it down to 90 and the smaller the picture is too, it's harder to see image quality loss. Yeah, so even at 80% at 15 kilobytes, it looks good. So then all you do is hit OK, then it will save to wherever you told it to save to. I told it to save my desktop. And then here is the image after it's done. So, I mean, I really can't tell any image difference in quality, especially once you start compressing that many pixels down into a much smaller area. But yeah, so then what you'd want to do is take your resized image, upload it to the website, and then that will help with it will help a little bit with ranking, because Google and everybody else does put into kind of where you rank with your website speed. So definitely having compressed images, or just properly resized, or pixels removed in the quality, it all does help, even if it's just a little bit. And it also definitely helps for the users, because I'm sure that you've been on a website that took forever to load, and it's frustrating, to say the least. So hopefully that covers it. Paint.net is a free program. You can use it you can use it for pretty much everything. You can use it as a Photoshop replacement, and I probably would, instead of buying Photoshop again. But I own Photoshop, so I don't really want to learn Paint.net, because it's not quite as good as Photoshop. But really, a lot of the software is only as good as the user. So I'm sure if you mastered Paint.net, I'm sure that you could do everything that you could do in in Photoshop. Um, but yeah, so hopefully that helps you out. And if you got any other questions, just let me know.